So this is a 2004 K1200LT. I've had it for about a year, a little over a year. I bought it to take some long trips around Florida. It's been awesome. Selling it because I don't need it for any mission I'm doing anymore. I'm not traveling down to Fort Lauderdale or Key West, as I've taken it a few times. To give you a little overview, this guy has 56,000 miles. I think I got it around 50 or 45, so about 5,000 to 10,000 miles on it. Features. This one has, let's see, we'll start from the front and move back. Of course, we've got cruise control. We've got our radio controls here. It's got power windshield, as I think all these bikes do. And just to give you an idea of what that windshield looks like when you're behind the driver's seat, you've got your control right here. And this is its fully down position. You've got this little canards up here that deflect wind when it's up. But when it's down, you're pretty aerodynamic. You can even tuck in. I've done it on the highway plenty of times. You can tuck in to be really aerodynamic. The wind will come over the top here and hit the top of your helmet. But if you're a little taller than I am, you'll be able to see over this perfectly fine. If you notice, my kegerator Betty over there will serve as a reference point. If you're a little taller than I am, you'll see over this just fine. It's perfect having it all the way down for around town or low speed maneuvers. And then when you put it up, you can stop it anywhere you want. And I find that somewhere in the middle is great for me, but at its full height, it gets very vertical, a little more wind resistance, and you'll notice fuel economy drop by 1 or 2 miles to the gallon from the trip meter down there. But you get absolutely, it's almost like you're in a car. There's no wind on you. It's like a drop-top convertible. And one of my favorite things is riding up to a stoplight after going 40, 50 miles an hour, coming up and putting it down. It looks so cool. That's its full height there. The windshield was replaced about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And while I have it on, it's also got servo assist brakes. So when you pull the brake pedal, you'll hear them engage. So it's a hydraulically assisted brake system. If you don't know what it means, don't worry, I can explain it if you come look at the bike. Radio works just fine. I did upgrade and repair the radio. It wasn't working when I got it. The amplifiers typically blow on these guys. Poor heat sinks from the factory. So I upgraded it and replaced it with new amplifiers. It probably won't sound that great in here because the garage has horrible reception, but it sounds just fine when you're riding. Not too bad. Now it does have a CD changer. That's in the glove box here. You got a single CD, and you've got a 6 CD changer in one of the rear bins. I also added, while I was redoing the radio, I added a auxiliary cable, so it takes any headphone jack, iPhone, whatever. Everything works up here for the gauges, all the displays, the trip meter. This is our trip computer rather, outside air temperature, range, miles per gallon, and one other thing I can't remember. I mentioned the cruise over here, heated grips and heated seats. The seats are heated independently, so the front seat has 2 settings, low and high, and the rear seat has low and high, and the rear backrest is also heated. The rear passenger can control the radio here, and they also have their own power outlet over here, so they can hook up accessories like heated clothes or whatever. The trunks, since we're over here anyways, are pretty spacious. You can fit a lot of gear in the side trunk and the rear trunks. And there's one on the other side, of course. So you've got 3 storage areas that are massive. They all lock, of course, and this does have an alarm, by the way. You have a remote that arms the alarm, which I never use, keep it in the garage here. It does have a reverse gear. That's the selector down there. And it's an electric reverse, so you put it in reverse and then hit the starter button, and it will power the bike backwards at a walking pace. The headlight's adjustable up and down. There's a knob right there, so if you have a high load in the back, maybe you've got a passenger and some luggage, you need to lower the headlight, you can just twist the knob up here from the cockpit. I get about 40 miles to the gallon, give or take on this. I use premium, of course. Fuel filler is over here, which is kind of a strange place to put it, but that's where it is. These wind deflectors down here, you can move in and out to, if you want airflow, if it's a hot day, or if you want to block airflow to your legs. It works surprisingly well, this little piece. It'll just deflect air down and around your legs. It's easy to get under the seat to access the battery and a few other things. It props itself up with a piece of hydraulic arm down there. You also got an adjustment here for the preload on the rear shock, which is super nice. If you're going to carry a passenger and luggage, just twist it up. You'll get high preload in the rear, so you won't be sagging back there. That folds away when it's not in use. Now I did add a foot peg lowering kit. It was like $200, $300 for these aluminum CNC'd or milled or something pieces that lower the driver's foot pegs about 1 inch or 2. Surprisingly, when you are on this bike, it's more of a sport touring position than I thought it would be, based on the size of it. So I was getting a little bit of cramps because my feet were about here, and this angle was kind of uncomfortable for long distances when I go down to the keys or whatever. So this is much more comfortable when your feet are here. And in the long rides, you can also kick them out of here over the bumpers. These are for the engine guards. You kick them up like that and put on the cruise control, and it's a good way to stretch your legs out, even if you do look pretty goofy. The 6CD changer goes in here on this side, but I have removed it for extra luggage space and because I don't own a CD anymore. So you have a single here, and I keep the cover for it in here. The previous owner had a cover. I never use it because I've kept it in the garage its whole life. But yeah, the 6CD changer goes right there. I do have the changer. It's in the closet. I'll include it in the sale, of course. Self-canceling turn signals. Most BMWs have that. I mentioned heated grips. They're great. Even in Florida, it's nice to have. Tires are almost brand new. I say brand new. They're about a year old, a little more than a year. Previous owner just put new ones on a few months before I bought it. If you do go on the forums and you hear stories about the maintenance being a pain in the ass because you have to take off all the sidings, it is a bit of a pain to take off the sidings. I got an electric screwdriver just to take off these torque spits that are all around. But once you get past that, it's fine. I do have a climber's manual that I'll of course include, which walks you through everything you need to know. So as I'll put in the description and on the ad, the clutch is slipping under high load on the highway, and that's due to a leak a leak that used to be in the slave cylinder for the clutch. And if you have BMWs, you know it's a common thing. My other BMW happened about 2 years ago. The slave cylinder failed and leaked some, in this case, leaked some brake fluid down the input shaft that goes to the clutch, which got on the clutch and contaminated it. I replaced the slave, which required taking off the rear wheel and rear drive shaft. While I was at it, did a spline lube, had a Honda Moly lubricant that they recommend. But I got everything off, took the slave cylinder out, replaced it, and I don't have the, I guess, confidence or the know-how or the experience to feel comfortable going all the way to the clutch, to take the clutch out, clean it off, and replace the seals along that shaft. So you will have to do a clutch job soon. It rides fine, especially around town. On the highway though, if you give it more than about 75% throttle, it will slip on you. Just a quick thing, you throttle back if it happens. I was hoping it wouldn't be, the seals wouldn't be degraded after the slave failed, but unfortunately they are. So yeah, plan on doing that, and I priced it appropriately because of that. And no video is complete without a quick startup. It's cold right now. Starts up perfectly, I mean like a dream. As you can see, temperature gauge is at 0. It's every single time, no problems there.